So what if I told you the cloud, well, it isn't actually in the sky, and that the internet isn't some kind of invisible magic? I mean, we throw these words around all the time, right? But the reality, it's way more physical and honestly, a lot more amazing. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on this huge, hidden world of steel, glass, and pure energy that powers our digital lives.
All right, so let's just jump right in with a question that really gets to the point. This came straight from a user on Reddit, and it's perfect. It sounds so simple, right? But the answer? Oh man, the answer opens up this hidden world of just incredible scale. I mean, where are all those photos and documents and emails of yours actually living?
And you know what? The best answer also came from Reddit. It's so simple, it's brilliant. It just slices right through all that marketing fluff. The cloud is just someone else's computers that you use. That's it. It's not some floaty magical thing. It's a service. You're basically just using these super powerful computers that belong to companies like Amazon or Google or Microsoft, and they're all stored in very real, very big buildings.
So, the next question is, how do you even connect to those computers? You're probably thinking it's all satellites and fancy wireless signals zipping through the air. But get this, and this is a wild fact, 98% of all international internet traffic is not wireless. It's actually traveling through physical cables lying on the bottom of the ocean. Mind-blowing, right? Okay, so if the internet isn't a cloud, then what the heck is it? Well, it's a real, physical system, and you can think of it as being built on two massive pillars. First, you've got the brains. That's where all the data is stored and processed. And then you've got the nervous system, which is what connects everything. So let's break both of those down. First up, the brains. We're talking about data centers. And I need you to forget any image you have of some dusty little server room in a basement. No. We're talking about high-tech, industrial-scale factories. These are the real home of the cloud. This is literally where your digital life is physically located. So what does one of these hyperscale data centers actually look like? Okay, picture a building, maybe the size of a football field, just jam-packed with rows upon rows of humming computer servers. We're talking at least 5,000 of them in a single facility. This isn't just some big room, it's like a city dedicated to computing. It's an absolute marvel of engineering. And building one? Oh, it's a monumental job. You need a massive piece of land, a building that's basically a fortress, and just an unbelievable amount of support infrastructure. I mean, think about it. Dedicated power lines that can handle enough electricity to power a small town. You need gigantic cooling systems because thousands of servers running 24/7 generate a ton of heat. And of course, multiple backup generators. It's so much more than a building. It's a full-blown data factory. So, just how reliable are these data factories? Well, the industry actually has a grading system for them called tiers. A basic Tier 1 facility, it might be down for almost 29 hours a year. But if you go all the way up to a top-of-the-line Tier 4 data center, one with multiple completely separate redundant systems, they're aiming for a maximum of just 26 minutes of downtime per year. Getting to that level of near-perfect reliability, well, it takes an insane investment in backup power, cooling, and network connections. Now, companies basically have two choices here. They can build their own custom data center, which gives them total control, but can cost millions, even billions of dollars. Or they can rent space in what's called a colocation facility. And what's super interesting is that even the giants, think Amazon, Google, Microsoft, who are famous for building their own massive data centers, they also rent space from these colocation companies. It just gives them more flexibility and helps them expand their reach faster. All right, so we've got these huge data factories, but how do they talk to each other? How do they talk to us across entire oceans? That brings us to our second pillar, the global nervous system. And this is the web that's hidden under the waves. Just take a look at this map. This isn't showing you airline routes. No. What you're seeing are the more than 500 active submarine fiber optic cables that crisscross the globe. This is the true backbone of the internet. So, every single time you visit a website that's hosted in another country, or you make an international video call, your data is literally racing through one of these physical cables at the bottom of the sea. And here's the part that just blows my mind. This entire planet-spanning network, it's made up of cables that are, well, they're about the size of a garden hose. That's it. And inside that garden hose-sized cable are these tiny, delicate glass fibers, each one thinner than a human hair, and they're the ones carrying all our data at pretty much the speed of light.
Now, these cables are engineered to last for more than 25 years, but, the ocean floor is a pretty rough place. You still get around 100 breaks or faults every single year. Usually it's things like fishing nets dragging on them or maybe an underwater earthquake. And when a cable does break, they have to send out these specialized ships to literally fish the cable up from the seabed and perform these unbelievably precise repairs miles out at sea.
So where did all of this even come from? I mean, this huge physical internet didn't just pop up overnight. Its roots actually go way back to a single pioneering project that figured out the basic rules for how to get computers to talk to each other across long distances. The story really kicks off in the 1960s with something called ARPANET. It was a project funded by the US Department of Defense. It started out super small. The very first message was sent back in 1969. But by the time they shut it down in 1990, it had already laid the groundwork, the essential rules or protocols that the modern internet still runs on today. It proved that this whole network of networks idea could actually work.
Now, you've probably heard the myth that the internet was built to survive in nuclear war, right? Well, this quote here from a former director of ARPA really sets the record straight. The real reason was actually much more practical. The goal was to let researchers all across the country share access to the very few, very powerful computers that existed back then. So it was born out of a need to collaborate, not out of a fear of conflict.
All right, so we've taken this journey from the abstract cloud down to concrete data centers and all the way to the bottom of the ocean. So what are the big takeaways? What do you really need to remember about this physical digital world of ours?
Let's boil it all down. There are 3 key things. First, the cloud isn't some ethereal thing. It has a physical address inside a massive, power-hungry data center. Second, the internet is not wireless. It's a physical network of undersea cables, a true global nervous system. And finally, number 3, all of this mind-bogglingly complex infrastructure really exists for one simple reason: to connect you to someone else's computer.
And that brings us to one last, really important question to leave you with. Now that we know our digital world is built on this huge physical foundation, we have to ask ourselves, what are the real-world costs? In terms of money, natural resources, and the impact on our environment, what does it actually cost to build and power all of this? It's definitely something to think about the next time you click Save to the Cloud.